Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So I'm out on the Christmas tree farm again during our harvest season. We've got another beautiful afternoon here. We've really been blessed with good weather. The sun's shining, we're out cutting and baling trees, and it occurred to me that I've never really given you guys an overview of how a Christmas tree farm works. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So it's right after lunch here. We were baling all morning, and now this afternoon we're into some big trees. The patch behind me here, we're clear cutting. There's not a whole lot left. I'm actually sitting up on the loader right now, and I'm following up behind the baler. They got these neat little piles for me to pick up, and they're out on the other end of the field behind me. So I figured while I'm running the loader here, it's kind of quiet. I'm working by myself. We don't have all the background noise. I figured I could talk at you a little bit and explain to you how the logistics of a Christmas tree farm work from start to finish. Because I know over the years a lot of people have asked me, or they've kind of alluded to the fact, oh, you just plant them and then come back 10 years later and cut them. Well, there's a lot more that goes into it than that. So that's what we're going to dive into today. I could set you up here to just stare at me as I'm loading trees, but I think what I'll do, I'll turn the camera around. You can watch some action and watch me load the trees and listen to me talk, I guess. It's probably more entertaining than staring at my mug. So let me get set up here and we'll get into it. All right, so I got you guys set up here. Hopefully you can hear me all right. Sorry, there might be a little bit of background noise there from the hydraulics. You're kind of sitting on the valve body. But, so how does a Christmas tree farm work? Well, we start with seedlings that come to us about 12 to 16 inches tall. And when we get them, they're anywhere from 4 to 5 years old already. So we don't grow our own seedlings here. We buy from nurseries who have superior genetics, that they have seed orchards that they've refined to get the best genetics to grow Christmas trees. And they're not genetically modified or anything like that. It's just the old school method of they pick the best trees and they put them in seed orchards and harvest that seed and, you know, try to get the best parents to get the best looking trees. So that's where we buy from, is nurseries that specialize in Christmas trees. And we'll buy our seedlings, and they'll show up here anywhere from March into May. We kind of get them in different shipments depending on where the nursery's at and when they're shipping. But that's typically our planting range, is anywhere from the end of March to the beginning of May. And this field I'm picking out of here is kind of a good example of what we're planting into. This field was empty last year. The stumps are ground out, so it's just an open field. And we'll plant into that. We have a planter that goes on the back of the tractor that kind of creates a furrow. When we drop the seedlings in, they come bare root. So they're just bare roots with no soil. And we'll put them in the ground, close up the furrow behind them, and they're planted. So that's really the beginning of the operation. Now, a lot of people think they just all naturally grow in these beautiful, perfect cone-shaped trees. Well, that's not really the case at all. You'd be very disappointed if you just put them out and let them on their own. You really wouldn't have much at all. So the next step for us is fertilizer. Every tree gets fertilized every spring. Whoops. Sorry, you might catch me losing my train of thought here. This is a little bit tougher than I thought it would be to talk and focus on this at the same time. But I'll do my best here for you, so give me a little bit of leeway. It's a little bit tougher than it looks to stay on track, because if you've been watching the channel, you guys know me. I don't rehearse anything, I don't script it, I just hit play and record. So yeah, we fertilize with a granular fertilizer and fertilizer spreaders on our little tractors that run up and down the rows of trees. If you watch the channel, you've seen the little Kubota tractors we have. They're specially made, they're narrow, so they fit between our rows of trees. So we use them for fertilizer. We also use them for grass control, mowing, and some herbicide application. That's also a very important thing. That's a never-ending battle. We work on grass control from the time the grass starts growing in the spring, straight through summer, right up into fall when the frost kills it. On our farm, it just seems something you can't ever win. You can't, you know, when you're battling the weeds in the grass, it's just we have to stay at it non-stop. So that's another big part of what we're working on here throughout the year. And I'm going to pause right here because I got to move the tractor and I'm working by myself. I will be back in 1 second as far as YouTube time is concerned. All right, I'm back and I'm catching up to the baler. So you may be able to see them up in front of my tractor there. You might hear some background noise of them baling. But I figured I'd show you here. You can see all our little tree seedlings. This field is a mix. This stuff you're looking at here is probably in its 4th year, I believe, the stuff right next to me. So those are nice little Fraser fir there. So I'm gonna set you down, we'll keep on loading here. So we planted them, we fertilize them, we control the grass so they don't have the competition. And the next big job we have, as far as labor goes, is shearing them. So how do these trees get that beautiful shape you're used to seeing on a Christmas tree, whether you come to our farm or you get it at the tree lot or garden center? Every single tree on this farm gets sheared every year. That is probably our single biggest job. We typically start right around the 4th of July because by that time the trees are done growing. So when we plant them, they're dormant, and then they'll start growing. Different trees start and finish growing at the same time, at different times, but they'll start growing around May and they'll grow up through June. And you can see the tender new growth on them during that time. And by about the end of June, beginning of July, they're hardened off, that they're done growing for the year. So at that point, it's safe for us to go in, and I have a video on my YouTube channel of us shearing trees. We use primarily Beneke rotary pruners, kind of a new advancement in the last couple years that have made shearing much easier, but it's still a huge job. So we'll work on that basically from the 4th of July until we're done, which is usually sometime in September. And you can see I picked up a stray branch there. So that is our single biggest job. We typically hire a couple guys to help us with that, high school, college kids, you know, whoever we can round up to lend a helping hand, and we'll do that and grass mowing all through the summer. So that is basically our full-time work for a good part of the year. Coming into fall, we do the final cleanup, make sure our grass is under control, we get all the equipment ready. Just get ready for harvest. Another big thing that happens in the summer through the fall, if you notice the tags on the trees, we have to go through our fields that we're cutting and do an inventory, because these trees we're picking up now are sold wholesale by the truckload to wholesale buyers. These are the ones you'd see at your garden center or tree lot, and everything's sold ahead of time. So by this time, when we're cutting these trees, we know exactly who they're going to. They know what they're getting, they're invoiced. So all of that has to be done ahead of time, because obviously we can't just go out here and randomly start cutting and say, oh yeah, we got your trees, or we don't have your trees. We have to know what our inventory is ahead of time. So that's another big job. All these fields get walked over and we make an inventory so we know exactly what we're selling. So we'll take care of these trees for 8 to 10 years, sometimes longer depending on the type of tree. And then their big day comes, it's harvest season. And well, that's what you're witnessing right now. If you guys didn't see the 3-part series I put out on harvesting Christmas trees, I highly recommend you look it up. I'll put a link to it here in the video. And that's going to give you a lot of color and the detail on how we actually do the harvesting, the cutting, the baling, shipping, all that stuff. So I won't get too much in the weeds on that because that's covered in another video. But yeah, that's probably our single most stressful job, just because of the time frame we have to do it in. Obviously, Christmas is waiting for nobody. It's going to come December 25th every year. And our wholesalers are typically going to want to be set up with their Christmas trees for Black Friday, the Friday after Thanksgiving, so they can have everything set up. So when their customers show up, they're ready to go. The problem for us is we can't start cutting trees until the weather is appropriate. Obviously, you can't cut them when it's 70 degrees out. You have to wait till we have a couple frosts and the trees are hardened off and they're suitable to cut. So that gives us, especially this year, since Thanksgiving's early this year, about a 2-week window to get many truckloads cut, shipped to their destination, and get all our customers set up. So this is kind of a high stress time for us. That's why it's kind of difficult for me to make these videos, but I kind of sneak them in anywhere I can get a second to talk to you guys. So we'll go through and we'll cut, like this field in front of us here, this is getting clear cut. So we cut some out of here last year, the first cutting, and now this year we're coming through and clearing the rest. That's kind of how we get our big trees. We go through and cut some and leave some stand to get taller. They typically will grow about 1 foot to 1.5 foot a year is about average for some of these trees. So like I said, we're on about an 8 to 10 year cycle. Oh, that's a pink tag. I'm going to the wrong stack with it. No, these trees aren't magically multiplying in front of me. I'm kind of stopping and moving here as we go. Trying to keep this video flowing. But anyway, once this field is cut and cleared, there'll be nothing left but the stumps. Any greens that are left, we're actually going to take and use for wreaths in our wreath making operation. So really nothing gets wasted. And then we will go through here in the winter with the stump grinder and grind the stumps. I also have a video on that you can check out. We use a skid loader mounted stump grinder to grind the stumps out, and that explains how we do that process. And then we're basically ready to repeat the cycle. And come spring, we'll plant again and just keep rotating. So every year we're harvesting a different section of the farm. This business is a logistical nightmare just because when you put something in the ground, it's there for a long time, and you really have to manage your inventory carefully because you can't just snap your fingers and have more trees. If you didn't plant them 8 years ago, you don't have them now, which, you know, really is difficult. But we've been at it since 1938. We try to stay consistent. We try to keep consistent customers, and it's been our ticket to success. But it's certainly not an easy thing to manage. There's a lot of moving parts here, and on top of all the different procedures I just talked about, like the planting and harvesting and grass mowing, there's all the stuff you have with any crop. You know, we have to make sure we're planting the right trees on the right site. Some of these trees will do excellent in some fields and will barely grow at all in others. So every tree has a different soil they like, different soil aspect, stuff like that. There's crop protection, you know, different trees will get different pests, whether it be bugs or fungus. So that all needs to be taken into account, and, you know, maybe chemical applications need to be done to keep the trees disease free. Obviously, we have the same concern every farmer has with drought. You know, these trees, especially when they're newly planted, are very susceptible to drought. You know, we can have tremendous losses in a drought year. So that's something we have to keep in mind. Frost. This year, this spring, we got hit by a frost. The trees are susceptible to frost when they're tender and growing, and that caused us a lot of damage. That's a big setback. Luckily, different trees break bud at different times, so we kind of hedge our bets that way. These Fraser fir that I'm picking up right now, they're late breakers, so they're not a frost risk. They are highly sensitive to drought though. So it's one of those things, there's no such thing as a perfect tree. It seems if you dodge one problem, you're gonna have another one. So we just try to keep a mixed inventory here. We grow Fraser fir, Douglas fir, Nordman and Turkish fir, concolor. By trying to diversify, you kind of spread your risk out that way. So I don't know if I have a whole lot more for you guys on this subject. If you have any questions, you can ask in the comments, and I'd be happy to answer. I think we did a general overview here. Hopefully I kind of dispelled the rumor that, you know, we just plant them and let them go and harvest them. If it was that easy, you know, like the saying, if it was that easy, everybody would do it. But we sure do work at it. There's still a lot of manual labor at this business. But I'm the 4th generation here, my cousin and myself, and you know, it's between this and the lumber business, it's what I enjoy doing. So we're gonna stay at it as long as we possibly can here, as long as you folks keep buying Christmas trees. So go get yourself a real Christmas tree this year, and I hope you all have a Merry Christmas, and I'll catch you in some of my other videos. So I have to cut back in here with one thing I forgot to mention, guys. Everything I just showed you is wholesale trees. They're shipped by the truckload to our wholesale buyers who resell them. And if you're thinking to yourself, well, how do I get a hold of one of those trees? We also sell choose and cut. All the information is at www.hillfarms.com or on Facebook at Hill Farms. We have a gift shop, food stand, wreaths, the whole works. So you can come in person here and walk across a wide selection of trees and pick your own and cut it out. So that's your option. If you watched this video and thought, boy, I really want one of those beautiful trees, that's your option. Everything I just showed you here, that's going to the cities, primarily Philadelphia, Jersey, areas like that. So I just wanted to clarify that. We are open to the public after Black Friday. Look us up online, all the details are there. Catch you later, guys.